Hi, everyone, and thanks for tuning in for today's TikTok Happy Hour. My name is Vanessa Campos, and I am a talent acquisition partner here at TikTok. I'm based in San Jose, and I work out of the Mountain View office, helping to recruit for some of our technical teams here. So I will be your host for today's event. And at TikTok Happy Hour today, we are going to be focusing on the month of March and celebrating Women's History Month. To back up, TikTok Happy Hour is our monthly webinar series where TikTok employees take the opportunity to sit down and talk with their colleagues about their lives, their work, their philosophy on work and life. And so because it is March and it is Women's History Month, in conversation today, we're welcoming 3 ladies from different teams across TikTok to share their understanding of what it means to be a woman in tech. So join me in welcoming Amantha, Layal, and Reza. We'll start off with Layal. If you wouldn't mind just telling me a bit about you, your current position, where you're located, and what you were doing before you came to TikTok.
Yeah, thanks, Vanessa. I'm so excited to be here with all these amazing ladies from TikTok. So as Vanessa mentioned, my name is Layal Ilarbi. I have a little bit of a unique role where I sit in between comms and security, focusing on communications. I've been with TikTok for almost 6 months based out of our DC office. Prior to joining TikTok, I was at Planned Parenthood where I led security architecture and digital vulnerability programs.
That is really cool to hear that you've been, that you've had such a variety of experiences. As a follow-up, I'd love to hear from you. What is your favorite side of TikTok? What is showing up on your For You page?
So my For You page is super diverse. It can range depending on the day to like funny cat videos. I don't know how this even happened, but lately I have grandpas doing viral TikTok trends, which I think is so hilarious. So I love the variety that you get on your feed.
Absolutely. I think I've seen some of those too. Okay, moving on. Reza, if you wouldn't mind, again, sharing what you do, where you're located, and what you did before TikTok.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and happy Women's History Month to everyone. I'm on the Growth Accelerator team for Global Business Solutions. I'm based in Austin, Texas. I joined TikTok about a year ago, so next month will be my full year, and I'm really excited about that. I joined, working from home, so it's really crazy transition, but I love it. It's actually not too different from what I did previously. I graduated from college in 2018, and I was full-time freelancer for those first 2 years. And I was mostly working from home anyways. And I would work on the advertising, social media, and marketing side for a lot of startups. And then also worked with at a few restaurants as a service industry worker.
That is great to hear. I definitely can appreciate a diverse and non-traditional background. Same thing here. I've worn so many hats in the past, and it looks like you have a leg up on us when it comes to working from home for COVID. So I'll ask you for some tips later if you have any, since you're an expert at this. Same question to you. What kinds of videos are on your For You page? What does your TikTok look like?
I would definitely say cats as well. I actually foster cats as a quarantine and lockdown. So definitely all over my For You page, as well as I would say sustainable fashion. I'm really into the eco space. So I have a lot of cool, fun, quirky, videos that show up.
I oftentimes get so roped into like arts and crafts TikTok. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this amazing dress they made. I need that keychain. So I can definitely relate to seeing all the creative folks that are making clothes and art and crafts. Definitely can relate to all of that. Okay, and then last, Amantha, if you wouldn't mind introing yourself, where you're at, what you do, and what you did before TikTok.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Vanessa. I'm so excited to be with you all here today and celebrating Women's History Month. Amantha Lott. I am a product manager in our IT organization and specifically on our enterprise solutions team. I'm based in Mountain View, and I've been with TikTok almost 2 years. I can't believe how quickly time has flown. Prior to joining TikTok, I was leading the global storefront product alongside fashion and personalization and a few other product and experiences at eBay.
I love eBay, probably too much. half the time I don't even remember what packages I'm getting from there just because I'm constantly browsing. So it's dangerous. All right. And same to you. What does your TikTok look like?
So, fun fact about Amantha, I'm actually an entrepreneur. I launched my LLC, Lot Creative, last year. So a lot of my For You page is actually other entrepreneurs and business-minded creators who are giving tips and tricks and hacks, kind of like how to get, a free thermal printer from UPS, and, how to source eco-friendly and sustainable packaging for your products. And then, there's the occasional cute puppy video and some of the Amazon finds. We're only human, right? But those are the main components of my For You page.
I love it. Way to mix business and pleasure. You're getting some tips about the business. You're seeing cats. Perfect. It sounds like a match made in heaven. So moving on from that, sorry, go ahead.
Just plus oneing. It is match made in heaven.
Yes, magic. So now that we've heard from everyone in terms of what your job titles are and like briefly what you do, I'd love to jump in and learn a little bit more about what your actual day-to-day work looks like. I think, when it comes to a job title, we have so many ideas of what this could possibly mean, but what it actually looks like day to day can be quite different. So I'd love to hear if you wouldn't mind sharing some of what your specific day to day and your, work activities tend to look like. So why don't we start with Layal again?
Sure. So in a nutshell, my role really focuses on telling TikTok's security story. And the way that I really am able to do that is by being embedded within our security team. So learning the in and outs of projects that they're working on a lot of times is behind the scenes. So I'm able to spotlight all of the incredible work that our teams do to really protect our community and our employees. In addition to that, I also support our security awareness and training programs, where we provide tips and resources to, again, safeguard our community and our employees. An example of that is October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and we were able to participate in that by sharing funny and fun TikTok videos with our community on security tips like password best practices. And it was a lot of fun and got to combine, how to make security relatable and actionable for our community.
I am definitely guilty of using the same password oftentimes in too many places. So I should probably go back and look at some of those TikToks. Thank you for doing the good work. It's really cool to see the intersection of working in comms as well as security, and that, those types of roles exist and that we have wonderful women backing them up and doing them. I appreciate that. Thank you. How about you, Reza? What does your day-to-day look like?
Yeah, so part of the growth team, I primarily focus on the revenue growth within, I focus on working with 200 plus accounts who advertise with us. So if you've ever seen an ad on TikTok, you might have seen an ad that I had help a client work on, and essentially also work on the day-to-day for their campaign setup, account management. But right now I'm verticalized, so I primarily work on more of like the fine tech, pet and retail and QSR within the sort of industries that I work with.
That is really cool. One of my favorite things about TikTok is that the ad experience is so well integrated. Half the time, I'm not sure if I'm seeing an ad or seeing a TikTok. I think, our slogan of make TikToks, not ads, has definitely landed well with some of our advertising partners. I'd love to hear a little bit more. Maybe what's one of your favorite advertisements that you've got to work on recently with our partners?
Yeah, favorite was actually just this past, January, at the beginning of the year. We worked with an agency and a nonprofit called the Kellogg Foundation, who brought a one-day campaign to bring awareness on National Day of Racial Healing. And they actually worked with John Legend and a few other actors and actresses in the creative. So it was really fun, and it was also pretty mission-driven, which I am also very passionate about.
That's awesome. I, too, am very much mission-driven. One of my favorite parts about TikTok is that, yes, a lot of people see it as, an entertainment platform, a place to go and be creative and to, we really bring joy to our users. But I think making sure people also understand that we can use TikTok for good and we can highlight some really important causes. It's one of my favorite things. So thank you so much for the work you do there. Awesome. And then lastly, we have Amantha. What does your day-to-day look like? You have a very impressive title, so I'd love to hear more about, what's the magic behind it?
Yeah, so there's only a few spells, some potions, and one cauldron that we use daily. So just kidding. Although some of us might be considered product magicians. As for me in my day-to-day as an enterprise product manager, specifically building 0 to 1 or building from the ground up, my day kind of consists of a few main components. The first, kind of gathering product and feature requirements from our users. And this could just be in one-on-one sessions. This could be in watching them utilize a current product or feature through ethnographic observation. This is also collaborating with our design, engineering, and other key stakeholders to make sure that we're tightly aligned for our product releases and our development work. And then next, we work alongside our product leaders to ensure that all of that development work is going tightly against our company org product goals and our roadmap, right? And it's laddering up to the business in a meaningful way. And then finally, because it's 0 to 1 and it's not a legacy product, it's not something that someone else started and handed to me, I need to build out extensive and detailed product documentation. This includes FAQ, this includes help, tutorials, guides, the documents that you would normally see for a product you purchase on how to. Someone's doing that. That's me. I'm that someone. And so it's really powerful because we're getting in the mind of the user and making sure everything is there. It's really efficient and it's really helpful.
That definitely sounds a lot like magic to me. So backing up a little bit, when you first started talking, you were saying that, you're really working from 0 to 1 and building from the ground up. It sounds like your job is really big, right? So how is it that you feel empowered to create something for the first time, to build things right the first time? I'd love to hear a bit more about, your personal journey and your career and getting to that place. Is this something you enjoy doing, building things right and building things creatively, and starting from that 0 to 1? I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah. So yes, it is a big task. I like to say, to whom much is given, much is required. So it really is a two-way street. But as you said, in building 0 to 1, one of the blessings in it is that you can build it the right way the first time. You can, in many aspects, you can take the time necessary to really understand deeply what the user needs, prioritize that extensively, and make sure that this product has a strong application front end and back end, a strong underlayer, hardware, software, anything else you might need for that particular product. And to kind of further go in, I'm really empowered at ByteDance because we have a culture of innovation. And we have a culture that if you see something, you need to say something, you need to build something, right? We're always aiming for the highest, which is one of our Byte styles. And so we're always empowered to build, the best version of that thing or that product. So being able to build 0 to 1 allows me to do that, allows me to problem solve, be creative, as well as, take time and kind of maybe pivot, right? We can be grounded but courageous as well in some of our other Byte styles. So yeah, so I really enjoy it. I love what I do. I really do have my dream job.
That is wonderful to hear. I definitely concur when it comes to having my dream job. I also get to work on some stuff that feels like it's from the ground up, really building things right the first time and being able to see, what I see as like my baby going out into the world and being launched live and having it be successful and seeing people enjoy what it is that I've created. It is a huge sense of empowerment. And I think I completely agree with you at TikTok and ByteDance. It's something that I get to do quite often. So I can definitely agree on multiple points there. thank you all for telling me more about what your day-to-day looks like. I think especially during COVID, it's so important to take time to connect with one another and to hear about what we all do. We all work so hard to make this company what it is and to make our product what it is. So it's great to see the diversity here in terms of what it is you all do and your backgrounds. I really appreciate that. So with that in mind, I want to pivot a little and talk, about, so the theme for today's happy hour is really, what is women in tech? How is it that we're empowered to do our best every day? So I'd love to hear more about what your observation has been of sort of the term women in tech. What does it mean to be a woman in tech based on your observations, your experience? I'd love to hear a bit more from each of your perspective. So let's mix it up a little. Why don't we go with Reza first this time, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I would say my experience being a woman in tech and observing what I see with my team leader, for example, who's an amazing example of being a woman in tech. I absolutely love my team leader. Someone like myself, coming from like a non-traditional role, I didn't really have that much experience with full-time, at such a global company like TikTok. So I didn't know what to expect at first, but I'm so happy that this is my full-time role for the first time ever. And I'm glad, even though it wasn't right after college, it still happened. And I think I love it because we're given a voice, everyone's given a voice, and we're able to really collaborate on projects and really help things and drive, kind of like what Amantha was saying, like things from start to zero, or 0 to 1. So I definitely think that's my observation, is just how amazing everyone is and how everyone has some sort of voice in growing this company. And it still kind of feels like a startup for me, at least, and I don't know about everyone else here, but I love the best of both worlds within TikTok.
Yeah, absolutely. Snaps to that. Since you mentioned what Amantha was talking about building things up, I'd love to hear from you, Amantha. What is your observation of women in tech, being a woman in tech, as well as observing others here at TikTok?
Yeah. Well, first I'll say that we definitely in 2021 especially have a lot more eyes and a lot more advocates and allies to the cause, but we are far from where we need to be. So I'm excited for that future. But ultimately, research has proven that diverse teams, for many reasons, perform higher. And so obviously at TikTok and ByteDance, for us focusing and having a Byte style for aiming for the highest, in order for us to aim for the highest and build the best products and services and teams, we simply need women on those teams, and having gender diversity. And so, especially when you're in product development, it's critical that we have female product managers and female product specialists, because we need to have people who are representative of not only our communities, but our users, right? And so the best way to do that is make sure that our workforce is reflective of that, which then furthers the narrative of our other Byte style, which is to champion diversity and inclusion. But I've been in, kind of the women in tech space many, many years. I co-founded the undergraduate women in informatics and computing at my alma mater, Indiana University, many moons ago. I've been to Grace Hopper as a scholar many times. I've been to local and regional conferences, and it's just an amazing community. So I encourage anyone to, join the tech space, because there are not many of us, not enough of us, and we're needed.
Absolutely. I think, we definitely have to remember every day that this world is just about at gender parity, right? There is a 50-50 split. So why not have that be reflected in the tech space? It's definitely, like you said, very much in line with our Byte style of championing diversity and inclusion. Every day as a recruiter, I am constantly thinking about how do we diversify what our internal pipeline looks like, right? The people who are applying, the people we're reaching out to, how do we make sure that we have diversity there? And then ultimately, like you were also mentioning, how do we make sure that women really feel like they belong at TikTok? And so I think, like all of you have talked about, the empowerment that you have in making decisions, seeing women in positions of leadership. Like Reza said, my manager is also a woman, and that really goes miles for me in terms of deciding and saying, what can my future career look like, and really reaching and aiming for the highest, like you said. We're all empowered to do that. So I can certainly appreciate that point of view as well. Awesome. Okay. So Layal, if you wouldn't mind sharing, what does women in tech mean to you? What does it look like to you?
Yeah, so I definitely can say that we're making progress with the whole concept of women in tech. Women currently only hold 25% of roles in the tech field. So I love that we're having conversations like this to challenge ourselves as an industry to raise the bar. I definitely will acknowledge, though, that in the last few years, I've seen way more women enter the tech space, particularly even in the security space, which is such a unique field within tech. But I think, conversations, like I said, like this, and really networking with other women in the tech space, and reaching out to women leaders within the tech space and really understanding their journey can help us empower others to really break that tech ceiling and inspire the younger generation to pursue careers within tech, specifically if they're women.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you bring up a really great point. Like, you were talking about how women are entering a lot of the security space, right, surrounding tech. I think it's important to realize that being a woman in tech doesn't necessarily mean you need to be writing code, right? It doesn't necessarily mean you need to be a software engineer. Like, we're all still women in tech, regardless of the roles that we serve. We are working at a tech company, and tech isn't far from our daily lives, right? Like, my phone is next to me here, and there are plenty of apps on it. And I'd love to see more of those apps built and run by women like myself. I want to see myself in the technology that I'm using every day. So I can definitely appreciate that. And, seeing women in all of these different fields that have been dominated by men for a while now, I think making sure we're getting towards parity is something that's super important. Like you said, only holding 25% of roles, we have a way to go. And I definitely appreciate you all being here in conversation today. And action is definitely the next step there too. So moving and pivoting again, I'd love to hear, now that we've talked about what it means to be a woman in tech, what you've observed, I'd love to hear, as women in tech, what ultimately led you to the decision to join TikTok? And now that you've been here for a bit of time, what's been your favorite part of being a woman at TikTok? I'll start out with Reza again.
Yeah, I would say I would work a lot as a social media manager in past jobs when I was a freelancer. So ultimately what made me want to join TikTok was social media. Like, I loved social media. I loved TikTok because it was already this new sort of platform that just allowed you to express yourself in a way that I feel like other platforms can't. So that's the reason why I joined. But one thing that I love that I've always keep to me, and I think it's my first day when I learned all the bite styles, was always day one. Always day one is like something that has stuck with me, because essentially I feel like we, as with my team, we have amazing team collaboration, and we can really work on things and essentially help each other out with our day-to-day roles and tasks, and really rely on our team to help us, especially someone like myself who didn't primarily come from a traditional advertising background. I also didn't study advertising in college. So it's always great to have that sort of motto, always day one, because I can always lean on a team to help, and also, learn on my own and help others when they join later down the road. So it's definitely been my favorite part.
That's great to hear. So one follow-up I have for you is, I know based on conversations that we've had previously, is that what you're doing now at TikTok isn't necessarily what you started out doing at TikTok. So of course there were reasons that you initially joined, but I'd love to hear, how has your role changed? How have you been able to grow since you've been here? And do you like sort of the direction that you've gone in? Have you felt that it's been a +1 or, a success for your career?
Yeah, so originally when I joined the team, I was more of a traditional acquisition and retention person. I would do more of a sales pitch and also do the account management, kind of like a hybrid role. And then eventually, as we started, revamping our accelerator growth team, I, mentioned to my team leader that I love account management. I really do love that side of my day-to-day role. And my team leader heard that, and now I essentially am on the retention side. So we kind of split our roles and as acquisition and retention, and I'm primarily only focused on the account management side. So it's really cool how I was able to have someone listen to my needs, and now I'm working in something that I primarily am more passionate about, and hopefully that drives to bigger things down the road.
Absolutely. It's awesome to hear that, you've had some autonomy in deciding what your career becomes as you grow here at TikTok. It's great to hear that your manager was really open and receptive to that, and that you're getting to do something that you really love. That's, the goal we all have for ourselves, right? Moving on, I'd love to hear from Amantha. What made you join TikTok, and what are some things that you've really enjoyed since you've been here?
Yeah, so one of the kind of main aspects that really drew me to TikTok and the ByteDance company was that it moved very fast. So I really wanted to pick up the pace, which was, more of a change and transition from eBay being a more mature and established company, as well as I was focused on end user and consumer product. And I wanted the challenge of transitioning to enterprise. So me getting a position in the enterprise space was something that I really wanted to do. And so I was able to kind of hit two birds with one stone, if you will, by joining TikTok. And so from there, once I joined, I quickly realized that community was a massive part of who we are in our company and corporate culture. And so, obviously, we've got amazing people that we work with, but we also have a lot of commonalities, right? So for example, we have Beehive, which is a Beyonce-based interest group. And, people are able to come together and share their passion for Beyonce, which has nothing to do with work and everything to do about, or do with community and just the idea of entertainment. And then it also skews all the way to me launching our PM Lounge community, which is a product management community for, not only the North America region, but expanding globally very soon, for us to come together and discuss aspects of product management. Again, more business related, but still gives us an opportunity to share our passions. And then more of a recent development, we've recently launched our employee resource groups, at least 3 of them. And I know that there will be many more to come. First, our ERG Black X, which is focused on our Black employees and champions of the Black experience. Somos, which is our Latinx community and advocates. And then finally Pride, which is tailored to our LGBTQ plus community and the allies there. And so shout out to Black X. I also happen to have the awesome privilege of being a co-president of our Black X community. This ERG is really, all of the ERGs, but the ERG experience is really a perfect example of how we are committed to championing diversity and inclusion. And also, that we're not taking it lightly. We're a 2-year-old company, but we're really starting to make strides to be in the spaces where, 2 and 3 decade old companies are, just scratching the surface of. So yeah, and then finally, another piece kind of directly related to community is just the many different ways that TikTok celebrates our heritage, from Lunar New Year celebrations to afternoon tea times when we were in the office, to holiday parties and office warming parties. It's just a wonderful way to get to know the colleagues that we spend so much time with.
Absolutely. And I think that 2 things. One, I wholly disagree that Beyonce has nothing to do with our day-to-day work. For me, it's integral to what I do every day. So 1, very important part of my daily work. And 2, something that I do agree with is just how important community is here, right? Like for me, I'm a member of Somos as well as Pride, and being able to really showcase my intersectional identity and to find community here outside of my day-to-day job, right? Most of the people that I connect with on that level aren't necessarily people I work with every day. So, I really appreciate all that you do. You are truly a magician, and I think Beyonce would be proud. I'm proud. That's awesome. So last, Layal, if you wouldn't mind just talking a bit more about what made you join TikTok and what's been one of your, favorite things since you've been here.
Yeah, so I definitely have to give credit where it's due. I first even learned about TikTok from my younger sister. I spent a lot of time with her during the pandemic, and I would notice that no matter how crazy things were in the world, she was like in her own little world learning like TikTok viral dance moves. And I joined TikTok and I saw that there's really a sense of community and belonging for everybody, on the app. So when I found the opportunity to join TikTok during a time where so many have leaned on the app for joy or self-expression or community, it was a no-brainer. And I 100% wanted to get behind a mission that, I could be passionate about protecting. So one of my favorite things about TikTok is, and definitely I can see this in my day-to-day and working here, is our organizational support for diversity and inclusion. And I think it's a little bit different to, as an organization, say that, we support diversity, but at TikTok, I feel like we not only support it and champion it, we celebrate it. And that's, in terms of, women having a seat at the table, and also, not only just being at the table, but being encouraged and welcome to share their views and their opinions and their thought leadership. And I've been able to see and engage because my role is really cross-functionally with women all over the organization. So different women leaders across various industries. And I've noticed that, they're really able to share their expertise and lift other women across the organization, which is really, really inspiring.
Yeah, definitely. I think a key to being successful in this industry is finding support within our community and also without, right? With people that are above us, below us, next to us. So I definitely can certainly resonate with all of that. So now, we are women in tech, right? And so talking to a broader audience of people who might not be in the tech industry. So for women who want to join the tech industry but don't have tech industry experience, what advice would you give to them, right? In terms of how it is that you've gotten here, what it means to be successful here. So why don't we start with Reza? What does it mean to be a woman in tech, and how is it that you got here? What advice would you have for others?
Yeah, advice would definitely be don't be afraid. Like I mentioned earlier, I didn't have the traditional advertising background, and I was a little afraid, but honestly, it was I was brought in with open arms with my team, and no one ever makes you feel little. You definitely have a voice here, and your experience, whatever it is going to be accepted. It's going to be wanted. That's definitely what some advice I would have is don't be afraid, and understand that your experience will definitely, people would definitely want to see and hear it, and it can incorporate into, the TikTok company and the business as a whole.
Definitely. So building off on that, I think both you and I share something in common where we're not too far out from when we graduated, right? So do you have any specific advice for those that are early in their career in terms of coming into a tech company?
Yes, I would say for me, internships was a really big key point. Working at startups, that definitely was something that helped me to where I am now. So definitely, just try everything. You never know what you would want, and definitely once you get to the space, especially in tech, you'll find something. There's something for everyone in tech. It doesn't have to be all of like the boring stuff that you see on Mad Men. It's really fun and vibrant and creative once you get to a company like TikTok.
Yeah, definitely. Completely agree. And I think another thing to highlight is that, there's so many avenues for getting into tech, right? So for me, I started at a very small startup and then moved to a place like TikTok. But, there are other ways to do it as well. We have a really robust internship program for folks who are still in school or who, might have zero industry experience and want to get started within it, as well as new grad positions. So that's one of the things I work on as someone in talent acquisition. So shameless plug there for those of you who don't know where to get started and maybe your early career like Reza and I, we have opportunities for you too, definitely. Okay, moving on. Amantha, what advice do you have for women who want to get into the tech industry?
Yeah. So first I'll say to just be resourceful and don't let the lack of a degree or experience stop you. If you are even slightly interested in a technical role, I really implore you to first either reach out to someone that you may know or not know in that particular role or kind of adjacent role, and offer to buy them coffee, to compensate them for a few minutes of their time, to ask about their day-to-day. And many women are incredibly excited to share. And they too are looking to pull more women into the industry. So most women are incredibly, open, although we are very busy. So it's always nice to get a free coffee. And many folks even respond to cold LinkedIn messages of just, hey, Vanessa, I saw you, on LinkedIn Live, and I wanted to see if I could follow up and ask you a few questions. Can I treat you to a DoorDash coffee? What can I do? And then next, I would say utilize resources that are available, that are affordable. When you can, utilize YouTube. There's a lot of great videos and posts already there. Use LinkedIn Learning if you're able. And other means to really understand and kind of better grasp the role, what a day-to-day looks like. For example, for product management, there's Women in Product, which is an amazing organization. And so they have a ton of resources. They have videos and recaps from different events, different conferences. So that's just one way to get involved in product management, just by learning. And then finally, really just start doing it, right? Like once you realize that, like, for example, as a product manager, we are gathering, requirements from users, we're collaborating, we're understanding how tech stacks and code is being written and, distributed, we're prioritizing, we're delegating. Just start doing that in your day-to-day life, right? And one such way, for example, could be the family vacation trip, right? Or the family reunion, right? Like how can you build a Wix website for that with a mobile experience, right? How can you have an itinerary and a pack list? How are you tackling some of those products and projects to kind of start having some of that experience? And then finally, you can always exchange your skills, for example, to nonprofits or schools to, add value right there. And then in exchange, get like a letter of recommendation. So there's also ways like that, that are unpaid, but you're getting a lot in return from a finished portfolio piece, if you will. So those are some suggestions, and just be scrappy, don't give up, whatever it is, you got this.
For sure. So I appreciate you advising everyone to buy me coffee. I really love coffee. I also enjoy tea and bubble tea as well. So if anyone wants to have a chat with me, my LinkedIn is open and available. But like you said, in all seriousness, so much of the time, we want to make sure that we're leading in our careers confidently, that we have confidence in ourselves and that we make those initial touch points. Sometimes it can be scary to reach out to a stranger, right? But have the confidence of the person you want to be. If you're a VP of a tech company, like you'll reach out to whoever you want on LinkedIn and you're going to expect a response, right? Coming at your day-to-day work with that same energy, as well as networking with that same energy, you're going to get far. So absolutely agree. You can definitely link up with some of the folks that you see in today's meeting, and just generally women that you find at TikTok, they are more than happy to help you. And same thing with women that you'll find all over the tech industry. One of our hashtags for this month is, when women win. And so it's the idea that when we win, we all win, right? That's not a zero-sum game where, your success means my success going away. We can all succeed and we can all do better for this industry. There is room for us at the table. And if not, we'll shove some folks aside and make some room. I'm happy to do that. But yeah, I completely agree with everything that you're saying. So last, Layal, if you wouldn't mind just sharing what advice you might have for women who want to get into the tech industry.
Yeah, so I would definitely say if there's one thing you should be willing to bet on, it should definitely be yourself. I think within the tech industry, there's definitely this common misconception that in order to be successful in tech, you need a technical background or you need to know how to program or code. And I think that holds a lot of women especially back from ever pursuing a tech career. I think many women hesitate to take the leap or make that transition unless they check off every single box. So if you're interested in tech or it's something that you're even thinking of pursuing, I recommend doing some research because I think I mentioned this earlier, there are a ton of specialized fields within tech, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to have a degree or you need to be super technical to be able to do well. The other piece of advice that I would give is finding your tribe. So there's a ton of resources out there, like whether it's women in tech or women in cyber, and even virtually, there are a ton of groups that you can really get connected with, ask questions, because chances are there are other women within those tech groups that are just like you, that are looking to make that transition, that are looking, for their right path to get into a tech field and really do well. So I think using your resources around you and networking can really help you to find, your passion within the technical fields.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think, especially as someone who works in recruiting, I'm already privy to so many of these groups. Like, you have women who code, you have women in tech, you have these large conferences and events like the Anita B organization, Grace Hopper celebration, one of the largest events. And TikTok loves being a part of those, but also you're going to find people from a variety of places, a variety of companies, and it really can expand your horizons of what it means to be a woman in tech. So making those connections is absolutely critical in terms of understanding what what does it mean to aim for the highest within your own career. You don't know what you don't know, right? So understanding what the possibilities can be, it's super important in terms of getting into the space and thriving once you're already here. So I can appreciate that too. Awesome. So we are almost at time for our conversation today. It has gone so awesomely. I wish we could talk for another 30 minutes. But as we wrap up, I love, coming from a more reflective place. What is one word that you would use to describe Team TikTok, right? The wonderful folks that we work with every day that make up this company. What's one word you use to describe Team TikTok? Let's start out with Amantha for this last one.
Yeah. So the first word that really comes to mind, and if I had to sum it up in just one word, it would be dynamic. Just as you, Vanessa, and Reza and Layal mentioned, you guys have so many facets to who you are, not only as a woman, but a woman in tech. And I'm sure that there are so many more that we weren't even able to touch on today. But that is very relatable to so many women. You have an identity that is outside of who you are at work, but it's really special at TikTok that we truly are able to bring that. And we do have communities to support you, or as Layal mentioned, tribes inside of the company, as well as externally. But yeah, that one word would be dynamic.
Dynamic. I love it. And it sounds very close to dynamite, which I feel like we all are. Super powerful women in tech, really shaking up the space. So dynamic. I love it. Okay. How about you, Layal? What's the one word you would use to describe Team TikTok?
Mine would definitely have to be innovative. I think that depending on the day or, what's going on, there's always something new and exciting going on, and no 2 days look alike, which is what I love about my role. And it sounds like a lot of roles that we have at TikTok as well. I think that for such a young company, the pace that we're moving is amazing, and it never fails to literally surprise me when I hear about accomplishments that there are teams I didn't even know we had. So I think in the technology space, seeing the success that we have and the growth that we've been able to accomplish in the last few years, dynamic would definitely have to be my word.
Completely agree. as being a technical recruiter, I'm a little bit more in tune with the technical side of the organization. And some of the things I see coming out of our internal hackathon are just like mind blowing. The innovation that I see every day when it comes to our product. I love it. I love it so much. When I see it on the app and when I say like, I know the people, I hired the people that made that thing, I love it. I love it. So yeah, definitely innovation is something that is huge when it comes to what it means to work at TikTok. All right, Reza, you're going to wrap us up. What one word would you use to describe Team TikTok?
I would say vibrant, and that would mainly be because, again, going back to always day one, I feel like we are full of energy and full of enthusiasm when it comes to our day in and day out tasks and everything. So definitely vibrant from here on out within TikTok.
Absolutely. Way to round us out. I think you all are absolutely vibrant women. Anywhere from Amantha's lipstick, my beautiful plant in the background, like vibrancy, life. We live it. We love it. I appreciate it so much. Awesome. Well, thank you, all three of you, Leal, Reza, Amantha, for joining me today to talk more about what it is to be a woman in tech, what it is to be a woman here at TikTok. I appreciate you all. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for this month's TikTok happy hour. I hope you learned something new and that you got to know a little bit more about what it means to work at TikTok and to live life as a woman in tech. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.